Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. All right, let's get right into it. Apple just dropped a ton of new stuff at their big awe-dropping event. And yeah, new iPhones, new watches, we kind of expect that, right? But this year feels different. It feels like there's a much bigger strategy going on, connecting all the dots between their hardware, a huge push into health, and what their devices are actually going to look like in the future.
So in this explainer, we're going to peel back the layers. We're not just going to list off specs, we're going to look at the awesome new hardware for sure. But then we're going to connect the dots. What does this actually mean for you? And what does it tell us about where Apple is really trying to go? Okay, first things first, the shiny new toys. Apple is really leading the charge with two big headliners. You've got the super powerful Apple Watch Ultra 3, and then the one that's got everybody talking, a totally new, ridiculously thin iPhone. So if you're an athlete, a hiker, an adventurer, the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is a huge step up from the last one. Now, on the outside, it looks pretty familiar, but the real magic is what's under the hood. We're talking a much brighter screen, a battery that lasts even longer, and one killer new safety feature for when you're way out in the middle of nowhere.
And here's what's really interesting, the price. It's launching at the same $799, but you're getting so many upgrades. I mean, the jump from LTE to 5G, that's a huge deal, not just for speed, but for saving battery, which probably helps explain how they boosted it from 36 hours all the way to 42. And then you get satellite messaging. I mean, that's a literal game changer for safety.
All right, let's talk about the device that pretty much stole the whole show, the brand new iPhone Air. With this phone, Apple is making a massive statement. They're going back to that obsession with making things as thin as possible, something we haven't really seen from them in years.
I mean, just look at that number, 5.64 millimeters. Seriously, it's hard to even wrap your head around how thin that is for a phone this powerful. But, and this is important, this isn't just about looking cool. It's a massive engineering achievement, and it gives us a big hint about where Apple is planning to go next. You know, for all the talk about speed and how thin the new iPhone is, maybe the most important story of the day wasn't about that at all. It was about health. Apple is going all in on this idea of turning the Apple Watch, the most personal thing they make, into your own personal health guardian.
And they're taking on a huge, often invisible problem, hypertension or high blood pressure. They call it the silent killer for a reason. A ton of people have it and have absolutely no idea. And understanding that is, well, it's crucial to seeing why this new Apple feature could be such a massive deal.
So how does this thing actually work? Well, first, let's be super clear. Your watch isn't suddenly a blood pressure cuff. It can't give you a reading. Instead, it's a really smart monitoring system. For 30 days, it watches how your blood vessels react to your heartbeat. Then, an algorithm looks for patterns that might point to trouble. And if it finds something, and this is the most important part, it sends you an FDA-cleared notification that basically says, hey, you might want to go see a doctor and get this checked out for real. And here's what makes this so huge. This feature isn't just for people buying the brand new watch. Nope. It's coming in a software update to the Apple Watch Series 9 and newer models. That means millions of people who already own a watch are about to get this incredibly powerful health tool just poof, right on their wrist. Okay, so the new hardware is awesome, but that's really only half the story, right? The real magic of Apple, the secret sauce, is the software that ties everything together. And this year, everything is getting a big refresh. The big theme that ties it all together is a new design language they're calling liquid glass. Think of it as a complete visual makeover. The goal is to make everything look and feel consistent, whether you're picking up your iPhone, sitting at your Mac, or even using a Vision Pro. And they're not trickling this out. It's all happening at once. On September 15th, bam, a huge wave of updates is going to hit every single major product they have. This kind of synchronized launch really shows you how serious they are about their ecosystem. This isn't just an iPhone update, it's an entire Apple universe update. Now, all this amazing new tech is super exciting, but let's talk about the price. And I don't just mean what you pay at the register. We gotta talk about the real cost of owning these things. What happens when something goes wrong? So let's just look at the repair costs for the new iPhone 17 Pro and Air if you don't have a warranty. You crack that gorgeous new screen? That'll be $329, thank you very much. And other damage, that could set you back a whopping $699. Yikes. I mean, those numbers are enough to make you scared to even take it out of your pocket. But then you look at the numbers with AppleCare Plus. That $329 screen repair?
it drops to just $29. A new battery? Free. And that scary $699 other damage fee becomes $99. And right there, the strategy becomes crystal clear. Apple isn't just selling you insurance anymore. They're making a really, really strong financial argument that AppleCare Plus is an essential part of buying the phone in the first place. Okay, so let's take a step back and put all these pieces together. You've got the new hardware, this intense focus on health, the way they've structured repair costs. What does it all mean? What is this telling us about where Apple is really going? It's time to read between the lines a little.
Let's circle back to that crazy thin iPhone Air. What if its whole point isn't just to be the new thin iPhone? What if it's actually a dry run for something way, way more ambitious? Think about it. Every big innovation inside that iPhone Air seems to magically solve a problem you'd face if you were trying to build a foldable phone. Pushing the engineering limits to get that thin, creating a new, smaller, stronger USB-C port out of 3D printed titanium. These are all tests in making things smaller and tougher, which is exactly what you need to do to make a foldable iPhone that lives up to Apple's crazy high standards. The iPhone Air might just be a dress rehearsal for the iPhone Fold. But it's not all perfect. The picture isn't completely rosy. While Apple is absolutely crushing it with hardware and making their ecosystem tighter than ever, there's one area where it feels like they're falling behind, and the pressure is definitely building. And that area is, you guessed it, AI. You see competitors like Google pushing way ahead with their AI assistants, while Apple's big, long-awaited Siri upgrade just got delayed into next year. And to make things worse, they're apparently losing some of their top AI people. So you have this real tension in Apple's story right now. Total dominance in hardware, but this growing, noticeable gap in AI. And that leaves us with the billion-dollar question, doesn't it? Apple has proven, yet again, that they are the absolute masters of hardware, of software that just works, and now of personal health tech. But we live in a world that is more and more being defined by artificial intelligence. So can Apple solve its AI puzzle before its competitors build a lead that's just too big to overcome? That right there, that's the challenge that's going to define Apple's next big chapter. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe.